Well, howdy. I'm Happy Hammer. Welcome to Woodworking Plans, Projects, and More. This series of videos was made to help woodworkers get better results and create finer woodworking projects. Whether you are new to woodworking or an old practiced hand at it, you'll find the information in this series more helpful than a handful of wooden nickels. Woodworking is a craft that has been a part of our culture for centuries. Finely crafted wood products endure the test of time and become family heirlooms, works of art, and other treasured pieces. If you're new to woodworking, the first few videos are intended for you. The practiced crafters may want to watch the plans for projects you can make video to get some new ideas or just plain how-tos for projects they have already thought of. This first video is about how to create your own workshop. So let's start from ground zero. Although you can use any good-sized room, let's use your garage. Since you're probably not using it to park your car in anyway, let's turn it into a well-designed and functional workshop. The first thing you really need to do is clear it all out. Get all of those things you have stored in there out of your way. You may find treasures you had forgotten about, or even be able to finally get rid of so many of those things you really just don't use, want, or need anymore. There are many thrift stores and the like that will gladly take your unwanted yet useful items. The more room you make available, the more room you'll have to work. Now once that is done, clean the empty space thoroughly. Next, you're going to want to plan the layout of your workshop. Think about what kind of work you want to do and what woodworking tasks you'll be doing and what kind of equipment you'll be using. Plan out where things would go in the space and how you would work most effectively. If you're using your garage and it's not a finished space, you're going to want to add a ceiling and walls if necessary and make it a nice place to be working. Garages tend to be dark, gloomy, and poorly lit places, so adding walls and a ceiling along with some good lighting will make a huge difference. Measure the garage, including the distances between the ceiling joists, and use sheets of oriented strand board, OSB, cut to size to close up the ceiling. If you want to have an attic area above the ceiling joists, add more OSB on top of the ceiling joists. Now don't forget to leave an adequate access opening so you can get up into the space and get things in and out of there too. Some folks forego the lower ceiling covering and just create the attic area, leaving the ceiling joists visible below. If you've opted for the more finished look though, and have attached the sheets of OSB to the bottom of the ceiling joists, then use wood strips to cover the seams. This will reduce drafts and give the space a more finished look. Now you want to paint the walls and ceiling, and choosing a light color to maximize the lighting for the space just makes sense. You'll be installing lighting in the next step, and if you use a lighter color, you'll get more light for your buck, so to speak. Some folks like to paint the concrete floor too, and apply a coating for both skid prevention and easier cleanup after project tasks as well. Installing lighting is the next task, so if you're not comfortable working with electricity, you might want to get an electrician for this next part. Fluorescent lighting usually works best. I prefer electronic ignition because they light up faster and they're quieter too. Make sure you space them well in your workshop and pay attention to the locations based on your plans. Make sure particular tasks that need good lighting have it. Also, the type of bulbs you use can make a huge difference. Again, I prefer bulbs that give you natural light like the sun. They don't cost any more and they give you much better lighting. Installing a workbench is next. You want to install a large workbench on one wall that can handle a wide variety of projects. It's always a good idea to add a vise at one end of the bench. Next, you'll want something that can really help reduce the clutter and tangle of electrical cords. You can do this by installing a long power strip at the back edge of the workbench running the full length of the bench. Also, adding a rubber mat in front will take the strain off your legs, feet, knees, and back. Next, get things organized. You'll want to install some storage cabinets above the workbench and maybe even below as well. Sometimes using rolling cabinetry for under the workbench works out very well. Again, consider what kinds of projects you'll be working on and make sure you provide a good amount of space for those tools, supplies, jigs, and other accessories you'll be using in your work. Put safety first always. Make sure you store chemicals in their original containers in a cabinet that can be locked and away from heat sources. If you have projects that will leave you with oily rags, make sure you have a waste can designed for that purpose and keep it away from the heat as well. Have an ABC top fire extinguisher in your workshop and maintain it in good working order. Well now, I think I nailed that project. A little happy humor there. Anyway, when you're ready to start your next woodworking project, I recommend you get on over to www.happyhammers.com and take a look at the best place I know of to get thousands of woodworking plans for all kinds of projects. Make sure you say hello to John, and please tell him that Happy sent you. This is Happy Hammer saying so long, and I'll see you again real soon. Now don't forget, get on over to www.happyhammers.com. Get thousands of woodworking plans for all kinds of projects.